Welcome to our first quarter town hall of the 18-19 fiscal year, and we'll give you a quick review of what's going on in the business, talk about some of our successes and challenges, and as we look at things going forward, do some recognition. So first and foremost, I just want to thank everybody for all the work that you do every day. We have wonderful people at Ardent Mills that make up this great company, and it's all of you that allow us to do what we do for our customers, for the consumers, and the great products that we make and people enjoy. So thank you for the work that you do. Our theme for this year is Lead What's Next. And we've talked a lot about the importance of us as industry leaders, as all of you as leaders, to always be thinking about what's next. Because tomorrow is going to be different than today. And things change and the dynamics change. And we're going to talk about how this year is a different year than last year. And we have to lead what's next in a different dynamic with different market situations and circumstances that impact us and that allow us to shine as Ardent Mills, but do it in different ways. And so we always want to be thinking about leading what's next. And we also want to remind you about that theme of together we make Ardent Mills. It's all of us working together, bringing out the best in each other to enable us to be successful. So as we look at the year, we always start with our vision and values. We can move us forward here. And our vision and values are the heart of and soul of who we are. So even though we talk about what's next and a lot of differences and things changing, this stays the same. This is our foundation. This is what we reference back to. This is our framework for all the decisions we make and the way we really think about our strategy coming to life, and everything else is based on our vision and our values. Our focus on being a trusted partner, the importance of nurturing customers, consumers, and communities, and then doing that through innovative and nutritious grain-based solutions. That's what we do at Ardent Mills. It's a great calling, it's a noble purpose, and it's very, very important work, and we can't lose sight of that. And then living by our values of the importance of trust and the importance of serving and the importance of simplicity and safety. And when we think about how those really allow us and enable us to be successful as an organization and to build relationships with our customers and to create the kind of culture and environment for our people, the values are right at the core. And we don't talk about our mission a lot, but I've been kind of heightening that a little bit more, particularly as we did the strategy work. We think about how important it is to enhance the quality of life and standards of health. I mean, that's a big statement, right? But that's what we do with the health and nutrition and the importance of food in people's diets today, how that ties into their health and their well-being and their feeling and everything else. We're right on the front edge of that. So that's really exciting and important to do. As all of you, I think, are aware, we are rolling out our strategy and really beginning the execution of that strategy. And I just wanted to spend a couple minutes reminding you of those 4 pillars and just giving you a quick update on each of those. So we talk about serving our customers by delivering an outstanding customer experience. And every day, every one of you can impact our customers. So don't think that's a pillar for the sales team or the customer service group. That's a pillar for all of us. And there's been some really good work done on really understanding different customer groups and segments and how we can serve them, and some really good initial work that the sales team and the sales leadership has done to start pulling some final, really some interesting learnings from that that'll lead to different actions and approaches that we take. So very exciting. We're also doing some initial work with our customer experience and learning from our customers and then being able to serve them better. So really important part. And we talk about driving efficient growth by developing, really getting the most out of or deploying our network of assets. We've got this great, Bill talks about these 42 dots on a map. It's putting those to work together, investing in the right ways. You'll hear a little bit more about some of our projects later. We're also looking at how we utilize those effectively region by region and doing some good assessment and analysis, and that one's really moving forward in a positive way. We talk about forging new paths, really by bringing innovative approaches to the market. And that's not just the annex, but it's also in everything that we do, thinking about doing things differently with more innovation. And if you think about the annex work, they've done some great work on really refining strategy around You know, do we build, do we buy, do we repurpose, do we do a little bit of all three? Which products are we going to really look at? We've had some exciting wins. One of my favorite ones is we sold some of our Sustagrain product into Japan. And I saw one of the pictures of that being unloaded out of a container in Japan, Ardent Mills Sustagrain. Very exciting work that the teams are doing, and that's just one little example of a lot of good things done with the annex. And then finally, building team member engagement and really advancing our values-based culture. And as we talk about our promise more and really start to deliver against that and create that experience for our people, it is such a core part of our strategy to be investing in our people. How many of you have seen one or more of the Hearts of Grain video series that just came out? Great, most hands gone up. If you haven't, make sure you go. You can access it through SharePoint or through the Ardent Mills Facebook or other social media sites. It's just fun and exciting to see the stories of each of our people that are just examples, just illustrations of, you know, Ben or Greg or Dana or Leaf or the Puerto Rico team. What incredible stories and just examples of the 2,500 people that we have. And to me, what's been really, I think, fun to see in those is how each individual and the team in Puerto Rico, everyone's unique in their own way, but they make incredible contributions. And you also see the depth of our people, beyond just what we see them doing at work, but how they mentor and coach and support others and deal with their family. All those different things is what makes the whole person come to life in those videos. So that's really that people part of our strategy is so critical to the success that we have as an organization. We're going to go through a little bit of an update now on the first quarter. I just want to lead into that, and Bill and John will work through that. But I want to lead into it with just a little reality check of how we have to lead what's next, because this year is different. You know, as I said, every year is a little bit different for us. We've had some factors that have impacted our markets and have impacted our earnings that we have to be aware of and work together to overcome. And so, one, we know the protein of the crops was a high protein crop this year, both in hard wheat and in spring wheat. What that's done is it's narrowed the spread. Usually there's a pretty wide spread between high protein and lower protein. Today, kind of wheat is wheat. And as one of our board members said last week, we're down to almost trading gravel, right? Wheat's the same everywhere. We don't like to think of it that way, right? All the different classes of wheat, different proteins, that all gives us opportunities. When that collapses and there's no difference between low protein and high protein wheat, there's a tremendous amount of missed opportunity for us in that. It's probably worth about $20 million to our business. And so we have to figure out, how do we offset that? The other difference this year is the trading market dynamics are very different. We've got this trade tariff cloud looming over our markets. And that's created kind of this, you know, I'd say kind of this negativity around ag markets, and it's put pressure more on soybeans and corn, but we have a ripple effect of that to us on wheat. And it's just different kinds of opportunities that we have to find, because the big swings in the market we had a year ago, we don't have those this year. And the relationships between corn and soybeans and wheat are different, and there's just some different dynamics. And our trading team is doing a great job. The mill feed team, for example, is well ahead of their plan, but in the wheat trading and the impact of that on us between the mix and blend from the proteins and then the trading situation difference, those are big swings. So just everything being the same, we're probably gonna, if you look at where we are today, you'd think we're projecting a number closer to 200 versus the 215 that is our plan. So what our job is, collectively, is how do we make that up? What do we do differently to offset some of the things that we just aren't going to have this year? And how do we work hard? Because it's in all of our best interests to find ways to win in the marketplace. And nobody's better positioned to do that than Ardent Mills. We've got the resources, the people, the team, the strategy, all of those things, but we all have to really think about how we can do things differently. We have to manage our costs better. We have to have a higher sense of urgency around everything that we do. We have to deliver on elements. We have to find more wins with our customers. We have to find those pockets that we can win in, and it's just going to be different than it's been before. but we have to be focused and make sure that we're working hard to do that. We had our meeting with our board last week, reviewed some of the things, let them know, hey, we've got some headwinds this year. It's a different kind of year, and they understand that, but they're also have an expectation, well, what can you do differently because it's a different year, and that's, again, what our challenge is. So John and Bill get more into the detail. We'll talk about some of the numbers more and look at some of where we are and some of the things we can do. But I just want to end that by saying it will take all of us working together to deliver this year, and that's who we are as Ardent Mills. So challenge yourself, challenge each other, and again, together we make Ardent Mills. So again, I love the pictures of the Together We Make Ardent Mills shirts. That's been kind of that was a fun day for us, and we're going to shift now to the business report, and Bill and John will take that over.
Thanks, Dan. We need more profit makers. I like that slide. That was a great transition. I don't know that we were smart enough to plan that, but it worked out well. We're going to talk about FY19 that we're in, and any part of this 5-year journey, it starts now. And it started actually 3 months ago, and it starts with this first year. And I'll bring to life some examples of what we're doing this fiscal year to help us get to 215. One starts with the customer experience. I think one huge dynamic that's a lot different than a few years ago is the industry today is operating at 82% capacity utilization. And you go back 5 years ago, it was close to 90. What is known in this industry, it's very well reported. These are government facts and figures, so it's not like we're creating our own numbers here. But this dynamics put definite pressure on us. And the one thing we must do is create an exceptional experience for our customers. There are people that can serve them today, and we can't give our customers a reason to go talk to somebody else. And when I look across our entire organization, all 2,500 of us have a responsibility to ensure that when the customer asks something of Ardent Mills, we get it to them timely. It's accurate, it's right, it's on time. It's the quality and meets the functionality that they expect. We cannot have a surprise happen to our business this year. Volume is one of the levers that we'll be pulling all year long that will help us make up that gap. And the way we'll keep and get that volume is that we out-execute and create this sustainable competitive advantage. Relationships and the little things matter. I've been at it 27 years. That's the one constant, is if we do the little things right, customers are going to come to Ardent Mills. Our network, we continue to reinvest in. You know, Dean and the ops and engineering team, they're not busy enough, so we just got another project approved for them. And we got the new packer approved at Martins Creek. And so that team's going to be exceptionally busy. And hopefully everybody's seen the new feed bin going up at Wichita on Yammer and seen the pictures. We're doing a better job, or we're trying to bring to life the capital projects, but we're on pace to spend over $100 million this year inside our plant. So if everybody remembers, we were going to spend almost $500 million over the next 5 years. We're well on our way to giving our customers the type of business that can meet their needs and give us the confidence to go to the market and lead with confidence, lead with momentum, lead that we're reinvesting back in this business. When it comes to innovation, again, you know, Dean and the team, they're just sitting around with their feet up. So part of what we're doing is we got our first capital project approved for the annex. This is really exciting, not because of the project in and of itself. It's our bet and how much we believe in what we're going to do with innovative new products. This is the first step forward, and it's going to go over at the Denver mill. And so this is one of many things we're going to do. Dan alluded to it. Shereen and the team are doing an awesome job putting together the next few years of how we build out this business, and we're following that playbook. They're doing a great job demonstrating the value that can happen with the annex. And then we had our pulse survey, and so we'll let Dion and Holly talk about that, but a lot of great things. Hopefully everybody participated. Hopefully everybody's hearing what the results were, whether it's here in Denver or out at one of our 42 sites. And hopefully you're participating in how do we get Ardent Mills to where you want it to be. And we're listening as an organization to make it better, but they'll talk more about that. John?
Yeah, with that, you know, Bill just went through the 4 pillars. The one pillar not up there, and it's kind of overarching, is the financials. And so this looks a little different than what you remember. We usually go over the in great detail the financials, but these are the three key metrics as we look at our financials. And so the first one's PBT, profit before tax. So this is our earnings, and again, we look at it before tax because we're a pass-through entity. In the U.S., we don't pay taxes. We pass that through our parents who pay taxes by law and in compliance. I've had that question a few times. But where we are through the first quarter, just under 47 million, and our plan was 60, and last year we were at 74. So significantly different. As Dan mentioned, this is a different year. We had a blowout year last year, and that first P1 we made 38 million. But this is going to be different. The year is just playing out different. The things that are exciting about our PBT is the volume. We're right at plan for our volume, and we're almost 2% above last year. So volume is key for this business. It's king for us. We got to have that volume before we can make money in a lot of different areas. So that is really a positive. The areas that we're seeing that we are down compared to plan, memo sale margin at 82%, which Bill mentioned. It's a war out there, and our sales team is out there every day fighting that war. And so we're down off a plan, probably close to 20 cents from a memo sale margin on flour. The other is commodity revenue, and Dan mentioned why that is different. Plant expenses and SG&A. So expenses where we can control it. We're running hard, and so our maintenance is a little higher in our plants and stuff because we are running our assets hard. But there's other controllable expenses. SG&A is still above plan. And so we have to continue to find those areas where we can manage those. So PBT, there's a lot of red on this first slide, but we shouldn't get upset about this, or there's things we can do to turn it around. Time is in our favor. Free cash flow. So this is a metric as you think about it. You start with our earnings, you add back depreciation, you take out capital spending, and this is where the cash flow that we have the ability to pay out distributions, because our parents, one of the things they like is distributions back to them. We are below, and our plan was to be at about 28 million free cash flow. We're at 3, and it's really the key driver to that is really around PBT. Our earnings are less than what we expected. Working capital is a little bit higher too, but we're doing the right things around working capital. We're filling up because there's a carry in the market, and Mike and his team are taking advantage of that, and we're filling up every silo bin that we can to fill it up with wheat. So when we make money off of that. The third metric is our return on invested capital. So this is earnings before interest and tax divided by our invested capital. And we look at this, we're looking at this as a rolling 12-month metric. So we're at 9.1%. Our target for the year is to be at 10.1. So again, we have time, we have 3 quarters to turn that around and get that right. But we got invested in this business, about $2.5 billion invested in this business. So we got to get that return on that. So those are the financial metrics.
We'll talk a little bit around the customer experience, and I was so happy to see in the second calendar quarter of this year, for years we've shown a metric of are we running our fair share. So if we're 30% of the daily capacity, are we 30% of the industry's production? And I'm very happy to say after a 4-year cats and dog fight out in the marketplace, we finally went past and surpassed, and we are now running more volume than our share of daily capacity. This is really important to us because as we go forward for 5 years, we plan on stretching that out. To me, it's a bellwether of are our words matching our actions? Are we delivering on the promise that we say to our customer, meeting and exceeding their expectations every single day? And it's a testament to everybody inside the organization that the first time in 4 years, we finally went over that hurdle. And that's a great accomplishment. We've actually been on a 5-quarter run of improving our results. So this isn't a one time and we're done. Our metrics continue to get better. John mentioned volume. It's a great story for us, and we're going to continue to press hard on volume. And while the sales margin's down in the first quarter, we actually are starting to see it tick back up. And actually, at the end of P4, we were up again. And so we can look at this and go, geez, we're red with sales margin. I'll take red in the trend we're on than red and heading down further. We're moving the metric in the right way right now, and I got a lot of confidence in what we're doing day in and day out will pay off for us as we go forward. And the customer satisfaction, I think this is one, as we roll forward and start to define the experience more and our go-to-market or our customer segmentation, this is one that may change for us, and this may become more relevant. I would look at it and say we're at 97, but we still have pockets that we hear about where we don't perform well, and it impacts multiple customers at one facility, for example, and that has ripples into other facilities as well. So we might be green here, but I think we're going to up the game in what we're doing with this as we go forward, and we might trend red, but that's okay because it should be a reflection of how well we're performing financially too. I like our momentum. I like where we're going in the trajectory of it, but we know we still have pockets that we can get better at when it comes to satisfying the customer. We talked at the beginning of the fiscal year, and we wanted to bring in operations and how is a standardized metric of how well the plants are performing. And I think we're on to something. I don't know that we have this one exactly wired tight yet, so hang in there with us. We might tweak it a little bit. But we take the Plant of the Year scorecard and we standardize it to all the mills. Now, I want to put a little context of seeing what we got, 76.8 up there. When we looked at this metric 2 years ago, we were at 50. 50. So how far are our plants coming in being able to look at things like the Ardent Mills Performance System, what we're doing with safety, what we do with the culture inside the plants, how well they're executing on yield and all the key measurements that we use to drive change and improved results in operations. You go from 50 to 76, that feels right. Now, I know Brad and the team aren't satisfied with where they are, but you also have to understand every year we lift their metrics. So when you look at that 76 relative to 2 years ago, that's probably indexing at 85. We don't set the number and leave it there. We then, as the mills perform exceptionally well, they get the Christmas present of getting higher numbers the next year. And so this is an incredible story of seeing the progression of how far our mills are coming. OEE, you can go down the list. Almost every metric we have operationally is performing at such a higher level. And I think it's important because it gets back to volume and customer satisfaction. All these metrics start to tie out. Our volume wouldn't be where it is if we perform poorly because a customer could go buy from somebody else. So they're all starting to tell the right story of how well we're performing as an organization. Talk a little bit about the total business margin. Again, we've had the sales margin moving in the right direction. No doubt it's down from where we wanted to be in plan. We're also seeing it in the transaction with the customer around the risk side and the commodity revenue as well. We are getting compressed in the buy-sell of our basic commodities along with the buy-sell with the customer. And so the sales team's doing a great job. This is about changing the outcome, is having real dialogue, real time, and understanding and being intimate with our customers. Every customer is different. Every plant is running harder than another plant. Before, we had to paint in big paint brushes. Today, we get to fine paint the edges. And our sales team, risk team, everybody involved in margins doing a better job touching the edges of where we can go find incrementally more margin. And that dialogue's happening at a greater clip. And then total margin as a percentage of the grain cost. This is important for us from a metric of how well are we controlling what we control. So when we roll up all of our margin buckets, we compare that against the monthly cost of the wheat we ground. And we're moving that metric up. And the reason why that's important is commodities are fairly flat. But that means if we're moving the total margin of our business up, we're controlling those things that we have our hands on the steering wheel. And it's a great metric for our board to say, hey, the market's what the market is, but we're focused on those things that we control, that we can influence, that we can change. And this is going to be really, really critical for us as we go forward in closing this gap that we see right now to hitting 215. And I have great confidence we're going to get that done.
Then the next bucket is around innovation, and the three metrics we have here. Number one is around the annex. You know, we made a big investment, making a big bet that's paying off. The arrow's red, meaning that we're not at plan, what we had committed to. But the great thing is we're on a good trend. Month over month over month, volume increases, our margin increases, so we're on the right trend. When you set the budget, when you set the budget, and there's a lot of things you don't know, but this team is doing an awesome job, and we're moving in the right directions on a lot of different fronts. The second metric is a new metric for us this year that we're tracking, and it's around what we're calling new sales. So this is new customers during the quarter that we sold to. It's existing customers that we're selling new products to, and existing customers that we're shipping new ship-tos to, meaning that we won in the market against one of their facilities. And we had 27 in this past quarter. And 18 of those were in our core flour, and 9 were in the annex. So that is, that's meaning that we're winning in the market, and the team's doing a great job of turning over every stone and finding those customers that we have not served before. And you think about, we talk about the mills. Within 150 miles of every one of our mills, we should know everybody who consumes any of that flour. And that's what we're doing. And the team is really doing a good job of finding those new customers and new opportunities. And then the third one is around SG&A, and that might kind of seem kind of weird. Why would SG&A be in innovation? But this is something, as we look at it, all the investments that we're making, part of our strategy, we had the 4 pillars, and then we had technology and our processes that were enablers of the strategy. And a big part of that is our SG&A, our support cost to the business. So as we do things different, as we automate things, become more efficient, our SG&A should trend down in total dollars and on a per hundredweight basis. A great example of this, we just had our S2P project roll out. And this is using technology and changing our process to be more efficient. And we're moving away from being functionally siloed, meaning that we had AP was in finance and procurement was in supply chain. We shook that up. We said, now we're going to have our organization around the process, around the S2P project. And so we're going to be more efficient, better communication, and our costs are going to go down. So that's an example of why SG&A is in innovation. There's a lot of things we can do different.
Last one is about differentiating with our people. And, I think one of the important metrics, hopefully everybody that's been around for a little bit understands, the devil's in the details. It takes sometimes a few years of experience, go through a few crop cycles, whatever it may be. But I think everybody would say 86% retention for our organization is too low. This is a people business. It's an inherent knowledge business. And we've got to drive a culture that people want to be here, not for a job, but for a career. That our retention continues to move up, that business acumen just oozes inside the business. We don't have to teach it. Those types of things are really important, and that's why we're watching the retention of our people. We continue to be on a nice run with safety. We're not at 0. That's obviously the goal. And we're not at target at 1, but we continue to refine. We're going to talk a little bit about SCORE here in a second. We're not sitting still in our constant quest to get better at what we do with our people. Everybody should go home in the same condition which they came to work every single day. And the last is the engagement index. We were at 75. We were at 74 at the last pulse survey, if I remember right, Dion. And we're green because we wanted to move up 1 point each year. Want to get to 80 by the end of 5. But again, it's not a score. It's not an index. I think it ties back to retention. Do all these metrics start tying out? You can't have a great engagement score and have low retention, right? You can't have a great engagement index and have poor results. You can't. Some of these all play off of each other. And so we're not going to be satisfied with this. It's as much about the follow-up to the feedback we got that counts more than almost the filling out the survey in and of itself. We've got to hold ourselves accountable to each other to get our culture where we want it as Ardent Mills. And so with that, we'll spend a little bit of time talking about safety. These plants, I think that, oh, now all the charts green. First quarter, we worked 1.2 million people hours safely inside our organization. I think it's important for people to understand the context of the amount of work that we do each and every day out at all of our great plants. They go with such a relentless passion and focus to execute so well for all of us, and that we can do that many hours safely. I think it's just a testament to what Anthony and the safety team and the operations team get accomplished every single day. This is an every second process. We don't get to take our eye off this, and our team does a wonderful job with it.
Bill, and that's the 35 facilities that are zero.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry. And then I'm talking about score, and I think one of the most important things is that even with safety, we don't sit back and go, well, we've got it figured out because we're close to one. This is something that we started rolling out last fiscal year. By the end of March of 2019, all of our facilities will be operating under the new environment and culture building of our safety program. The feedback from the 20 plants that have gone live so far has been incredibly positive. And it's much more people focused, culture focused of what we're doing with safety. And we think it demonstrates innovation, that what we're doing, we've got to get better. We've got to find a better way to send everybody home safely every day. And I'm really proud of the progress we're making, and I'm really excited to see what it leads to when all the plants are finally implemented at the end of March. But great job by the team, and we're excited by the initial results. So with that, we'll turn it over to Dion and Holly.
That may be too much for me to handle at once. I actually don't need to click. I am only going to be on a single slide. Thank you. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate getting the chance to kind of report out to you as to where we're at. Mentioned earlier, I'm going to get a chance to talk a little bit around organizationally where we landed with the pulse feedback that we got that wrapped in August. As you thought back on those metrics that we were just looking at, we are in the red with an 86% retention, because actually our goal at the end of 5 years, the 5-year climb, is to have a 90% retention across the business. But I don't want, so again, we don't want that red to just lead you to a place, oh, we're not good enough now, because I want to remind you where we once were. We were actually at 80% retention when we started this business up with over 20% turnover. We have now gotten ourselves to 15, now 14% turnover. While it's not where we want to be, that is a significant achievement for an organization over 4.5 years. And I really want to applaud all of the work that everyone's doing, because those metrics do matter. And we need folks to be in our business, again, wanting to see a career and making a fantastic career for themselves, making the culture that they want. So when we go to the pulse survey is just but one mechanism for us to continue the conversation. We have a very different approach at Ardent Mills. We don't do it just one time a year and have it be an event, because we want to see where people are at frequently throughout the course of the year. So we actually do it 3 times, try to make it as easy as possible for folks. And it must be working, because we had a fantastic response of 86% of our folks across the business responded to our pulse survey and gave us feedback. That's 2,061 team members willing to give us the time and the ability to give us their thoughts. And those thoughts came in the form of over 2,200 comments. That is an all-time high for the number of comments that we received. And since the August pulse survey, we actually increased for our hourly and production folks, that number for them, the amount of comments, increased by 50%. So it was fantastic. And I will tell you, I read every single comment. Everybody on the leadership team reads every single comment. They go and look at the results in preparation for site visits, so we can be more relentlessly curious around what is it that's making things tick in a particular facility or within a particular function. So really want to thank everyone for that tremendous feedback, because it really is impressive. If I jump to that punchline, the punchline is that we increased by another percentage point. And again, like Bill mentioned, it's not about the score, but we are trending up across all areas that we actually got feedback in. So when you look up on the slide and you see things like 11 of our scores are below benchmark, Our benchmark is actually for high-performing organizations. We have a bar set that's not just for ops and manufacturing. We set a bar for high-performing organizations, organizations that are highly engaged in delivering tremendous results out in the marketplace, agnostic of industry. So that's our bar. So we've got a ways to go, but the good news story on this is that since we started asking the questions and since you started giving us feedback across every area that we are measuring, we have been trending in a favorable way. So that continues to bring a lot of encouragement into the business and that we need to keep focused in that way. Okay. So some of the areas that we need to continue to put focus in. So organizationally, our strengths were things like authenticity and future. So I feel comfortable about being myself at work, and I'm excited about the Ardent Mills future. I was really encouraged to see this feedback because this also tells me that organizationally, where we put our efforts, the organization will respond. And so we did a lot of work on bringing the Ardent Mills future really crisp and clear for the organization, visited all of our sites associated with the climb, and we did hear some really positive feedback around that. So where we need to continue to get that momentum is everybody understanding what their role is individually within their positions, how they can connect and continue to drive that. So where were some of our biggest opportunities? Team trust, action taken to improve engagement, and work-life balance. So work-life balance has been one of our opportunities since the very beginning. And while we did actually see the most notable improvements in this since our August efforts, which again is encouraging, it still is a huge opportunity everywhere across the business. Okay. So if you have not already, like mentioned earlier, you should be hearing about this more locally, because I can stand up here and share with you organizational results, but quite frankly, where it really starts to mean something is when you look at your own individual departments or locations or sites, and you're looking to see what that feedback is and the areas that we can continue to build on our strengths, and then obviously focus on the areas where we have a lot of opportunity. Each of us is responsible for the success at Ardent Mills. We all make choices every day on the type of environment we're going to create for folks and the type of environment that we ourselves are going to create, because that's what we want. Our customer experience will never be better than our team member experience. So the level of engagement, the level of discretionary effort for each of you is highly impactful in how we're going to show up for our customer. And we have those individual choices we can make on the impact we can for everybody that's in this room and at your local facilities. So I encourage everyone to take the feedback seriously and follow through on ways that we can continue to bring our promise to life, because together we make Ardent Mills. Okay. And a little bit about Workday. So Holly.
Thanks, Dion. So today, team members go into ADP to view your paychecks, to enroll in your benefits, to change your personal information. And tomorrow, meaning December, towards the end of December, we will be doing all those items in Workday. So Workday is our new people system that we are in the process of implementing right now. And what this is going to bring us is obviously a lot of functionality that we may not have today. It brings us efficiency because it's going to be all things that are on one platform. Today we have Canada on a different platform, so it's going to give us some efficiency there. And most importantly, it's going to really support our strategy of the climb. So what those pillars that Bill and John had alluded to, there's two that kind of fit into this from a technology perspective. It's innovation. It's going to bring us functionality and things in the system that we are going to be able to improve on in the business today. And also on the people aspect, for us to be able to enable our team members and our managers to drive things forward for the business. So this slide is showing you're empowering what is going to happen. What does it bring to you as a manager or to you as a team member? And a couple highlights that we just want to make sure we call out that are things that you get to look forward to are the ability to view and apply for positions at Ardent Mills. So this gives a broader, more visibility and transparency to the opportunities across the business. So the recruiting functionality of this system from an internal perspective will be greatly enhanced from what we have today. Another piece that we don't have today that is going to probably be really nice for you all is a mobile app. So as a manager, when you get around to kind of looking through your stuff, as you're breaking through to different meetings and whatnot, you can hit approve on some of those things that your team members are initiating, like looking at their vacation balance, requesting their vacation, and doing things in the system that you will be submitting their time, and then you approve their time. So for team members, they're going to be able to also have some things that they don't have today. For some of our production crew in the field, they're going to be able to see their accumulations across each day as they time punch in and out, and then be able to see where they're at throughout the week and their totals. So that's exciting stuff. We're also going to have a lot of on-demand reporting that is just going to pop up onto dashboards for our managers. So as you go in on your mobile app, you're going to be able to see some statistics. That'll really help us enable our results for the business and help drive your business forward from a people perspective. So one last slide. This just gives you the highlights of where we're at in the phases that are left in the project. Right now we're doing parallel payroll testing. Then we're going into UAT testing. There's lots of information that's going to start hitting the plants, and all of you are going to start seeing more information, more communication around our project of Workday that's going to be for you as team members of Ardent Mills. And so again, go live date of when you're going to start to really get into the system and be checking your information is that week of December 17th. But I want to give a big shout out to, we have about 15 people on the core team. So that's HR, IT folks, the change management team. But we've really engaged with the admin managers across the business and some plant managers. So I just want to thank you guys all very much for all your help with the project. And we look forward to the week of December 17th to let you really see into it, every single one of you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel Warner. I am here in Denver. I'm the National Accounts team. I've been with Ardent a year now, but I have been in flour milling for quite some time. I have the unique perspective of working for 3 flour milling companies. I spent 7 years at ADM, and I was a national accounts manager, and I worked at the plants for 7 years. And then I went back to Chattanooga and I worked for Graincraft and I was a national account manager there. And then now here at Ardent. So gives me a great insight to strengths and weaknesses. And I also got to see these companies flourish and do well. And I got to see them not do so well. So hopefully I brought some of that with me to Ardent Mills. And going along with today's lovely theme of opportunities and challenges, I'm going to talk about Mission Foods. They are an opportunity and they are a challenge. I inherited this account last November when the previous account manager left. And so first thing I did was call Mission Foods. I knew the guy, I worked with him at ADM, but it was very transactional. Then at Graincraft, I watched my boss do a really nice job with Mission. So I reached out and I said, hey, good news, we're working together. It's going to be fun, yeah. And he says, great, I don't like Ardent. And I was like, sweet, this is awesome. And then he said, I'm not alone in that opinion. Our VP of quality, she doesn't like Ardent. She doesn't think that you guys make us a priority and that you follow through with what you're going to do. So I was like, awesome, I've got this. And so the first thing I do is call the 3 plants we ship out of. We ship out of Commerce City, Tampa, and Pocono. So I get a call so I can know, where are we today? What's our standard business? And weird, but they were not in love with Mission. The feeling was quite mutual, lack of communication. They don't trust us. They don't engage with us. So I could see I had my work ahead of me and, I had to step back and say, okay, how did we get here? And I didn't have the answers because the gentleman had left, but I put some stuff together and I made some assumptions based on what I knew. And about 4 or 5 years ago, Mission changed leadership. And the new leader had a philosophy on suppliers. They said, hey, you guys, you make tortillas, you're busy, we're growing. Don't waste your time on claims. Don't waste your time on anything. You guys make tortillas. We'll handle that from a corporate perspective. That's not how we love to do business in this industry in Ardent Mills. We want the people at the mills to talk to the people at the bakeries because people like this don't know all that stuff. We really want the people who know what they're doing engaged, but that's what the customer wants, and so that's what we're going to do. And based on what I saw, my assumption is maybe the gentleman or people before me didn't nurture that or embrace that philosophy. And then I watched it at Graincraft. They did embrace it, and they grew business really fast with them. So then you have to step back and say, do we want to be a partner with Mission? If it's not this great, they don't love us, we don't love them, do we want to be in business with Mission? And the answer is, of course we do. It's the largest tortilla manufacturer in the world and in this country. We are the largest flour manufacturer in this country. Kind of makes sense that we become friends. So I had to step back and think about the business, and I went down and visited with Michael, who's the procurement director, visited with Lucy, who's the vice president of quality, really direct and honest, and said, what can we do? What are you looking for? What are we not doing? I can't change the past, but I'm here and let's move forward. And so I came up with kind of a three-prong approach, if you will. The first one being, I heard from Lucy and I heard from Michael, we want to talk to one person. We don't want to talk to the whole gamut of Ardent Mills people. We want one person. I want to call them on the weekends. I want to call them at 2 a.m. and they take care of everything. I said, that's fine. That's me, along with Ron Burke. We're going to work together. It's a team approach at Ardent, and we're still going to be a team, but we're going to be the ones messaging and talking to you and making sure you're happy with what you hear. So that's the first part. The second part is LMEDs, service. We all want to service our customers. We just heard about it. I know that. I know we want to get the flour there on time. We want a COA. We want the flour to work. But Mission's sensitive. They don't love us, and we need to work on that. So that's having that team customer service approach, logistics, the mills, customer service. And I've already seen some great changes and opportunities. I work with Naomi and our CSR team on Mission, and stuff that she usually handles and she can take care of, she's bringing to my attention. She's bringing me in the loop. And then when she sees a consistent kind of issue going on, she takes it up the ladder right away. She doesn't wait. She says, we are not in great position with this customer. I need you guys to step up. And so it's that customer service approach as a team that's going to help make a difference and keep Ardent Mills out of the corporate level. You know, because it does go to corporate, let's keep our name in the negative light out of there. Let's fix it and service the customer. The third approach is going to sound completely counterintuitive to everything I've talked about, which is the relationship between the bakery and the mill. Even though Mission really wants to keep things at high level, I think because of that, maybe we stopped nurturing those relationships at the bakery and mill level. And so Randy Garvett has done an excellent job in getting that building and getting momentum for that. He's done some really good meetings between the mills and the bakeries. And then the plant managers, which is Mike and Jason and Josh in Tampa, Trey in Tampa, they are working really hard to try to keep that momentum going, which isn't an easy gig. I think the Mission bakeries are a little gun shy to have an open conversation with us because their corporate office says so. So our guys are, hey, can I take you to lunch? Can I come over to the plant? Can I do anything? And even if they say no, just knowing that we want to be engaged and that we want to have that relationship, it helps. It helps when the issues come, and it helps when the claims come, and we need that long-term relationship. So that's where we are today. We're going to fix it. We're going to go forward. Long-term, you know, we have 3 of 17 plants. Obviously, that's not the lion's share, and that's not where we belong. I'd love to say we're going to have more, and I'd like to put a number out there, but I know this is recorded, so I'm not going to do that. But the goal is to have more business, obviously, and it's going to take all of us. And if you've worked with the Mission or if you've talked to the plants, you know it's a challenge. It hasn't been pleasant, and they haven't loved us in the past, and we're going to change that. We're going to change their perception. We're going to work with them, and we'll grow with them. So that's Mission Foods. And then the other customer report that I wanted to share with you today is Riches and Olive Garden are working together for new product lunch, and it's called I got to get closer, Piadina flatbread, which is like an Italian flatbread serving at Olive Garden. So if you go to Olive Garden and you're like not in the mood for pasta, which is weird if you go to Olive Garden, but if you aren't, try the flatbread and support your Ardent Mills products. And so that's it. If anybody ever wants to talk about Mission, I love talking, so come find me.
Thanks, Rachel. And it's a great example of how we can't just show up and expect customers to just love us. We have to do the hard work of LMEDs, of communication, of relationship building, of consistency, of caring all the time. And that is the reality. And we talk about in the strategy a lot about pockets of growth, tortillas, pocket of growth. We want to be aligned where there's growth, and that's a customer that's growing, expanding, and Rachel's doing a great job of helping us to help them, and I'm convinced we will win. We're going to wrap up with a couple last recognitions. One thing Bill talked about, the safety. I do want to shout out to Air Massachusetts. Just this about a week ago, Air crossed the 7-year mark with 0 injuries. That is a phenomenal accomplishment and well worth the hand. And it shows not only is 0 possible, it's sustainable over time, year after year after year. That means for 7 years, those team members have come to work, gone home safely every single day. And that's a beautiful thing. So great, we're making great progress along that, as Bill mentioned. We want to talk quickly about some exciting recognition also that's been happening. Driver Appreciation Week was a couple weeks ago. We actually do something pretty unique in the industry. During Driver Appreciation Week, when truck freight is extremely tight, there's a lot of pressure on freight right now. It's hard getting drivers for our suppliers. They're struggling. We actually bring the drivers in and say, hey, we're gonna feed you, we're gonna thank you, we're gonna dote on you a little bit, and that's something I know when I talk to the owners of some of the companies that supply freight for us, they say, what you guys do for us is phenomenal. We really appreciate that. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our drivers. So you can go on Yammer and see some of the great pictures that were posted during Driver Appreciation Week. Also, today marks day 1 of Customer Service Week. And we should be focused on the customer and our customer service efforts 365 days a year. But this week is a call out of recognition to people that are focused. Their full-time job is called customer service. And we have a team of those folks that are based here on the 13th floor in Denver. We've got some folks in Omaha and up in Mississauga and I think Minneapolis, our offices. And we're all serving the customers, but that group, our customer service team, does a phenomenal job. So if you're based here in Denver, or in the other offices where we have customer service folks, be sure to stop by and thank them this week for the work that they do. They're important. Rachel just referenced how important that connection point is with our customers across the country and in fact around the world. This week is designated for Customer Service Week. So we want to thank and appreciate that group, and let's give them all a big hand for the work that they do. And then finally, we're doing things a little bit different this year with our quarterly awards. So that's a lot of them. We're not going to do each one of those today. But every location and every function we asked to put forth one person, because we were literally getting hundreds of recommendations for the quarterly award. And so we started a little bit of a winnowing process, which is great because there's a lot of recognition going on. And we identified in each region and then for the functions, one person from each location or each function to recognize. And those are the names, and those will be posted out there for those. And then we selected, not we, a team of folks from our engagement team and our ROMs and others that are kind of familiar and see all this, selected one from each of those groups. And that's how we're doing the quarterly awards. So this month, or this quarter, we're going to recognize 4 of those folks. So Christina Melendez, who's out in Stockton, does a terrific job with the team there. Bruce Zimmerman, Bruce is in Hastings, has been there a long time. Talk about institutional knowledge and business acumen. I think he's 40 plus years at Hastings, great contributor. Joe Sherry, who's in our inventory group in Albany and does a terrific job there. And then if you don't know Sithapong, if you're based in Denver, he works here. Sithapong is our security guy, our email security guy. And that's a lot of weight on him. We're actually adding resources to that group to continue to reinforce that, but again, does a terrific job for us. So right now, we're going to show you quick videos on each of them, and then we'll have a quick wrap up and get you on your way.
Christina, congratulations on your Q1 Leadership Award nomination. You're always relentlessly curious and looking for ways to make the pack processes more efficient and safe. You have been a huge help by teaching me how the pack line works and helping us prepare for our changeover pit stop. You're always willing to help your peers, whether it's on the pack line, troubleshooting a problem, or doing the counts at month end. You always have a positive attitude and a smile on your face. Once again, congratulations, Christina.
Hey Christina, congratulations on being selected for the Quarterly Leadership Award. I want to thank you for your willingness to help regardless of what's thrown at you. Because of your timely response to many requests, we can assure that our customers get their deliveries on time. You always go above and beyond and help even when your plate is full. Your willingness to talk through options, listen to concerns, and bring up new ideas helps solve many issues in your department as well as in others. You truly live the Ardent Mills values by winning the right way. You're safe out there, you're trustworthy, and we can depend on you to get many tasks completed. Congratulations again, Christina.
Christina, congratulations on winning the First Quarter Leaders Award. You live our values and leadership principles every single day. You're always focused on safety and always go above and beyond to make sure we're meeting our customer expectations. And no matter what, you always have a smile on your face and a positive attitude that's contagious to those around you. Again, congratulations. This award is well deserved.
Bruce, congratulations on receiving the Central Region Quarterly Leaders Award. Each and every day, you truly show great ownership and leadership through what you do. It is very much appreciated. Thanks again and congratulations.
Congratulations, Bruce. Ever since I started in Hastings, you've been the true representation of a servant leader, and I want to thank you for all your hard work in Hastings.
From early on as I supported Hastings, Bruce helped brought concepts and ideas to make our fire suppression systems safer and better in Hastings, Minnesota. Bruce has always brought a positive attitude and, more importantly, a can-do spirit to not only bringing the ideas to the table, but seeing them through to fruition. Thank you, Bruce. I couldn't be prouder to have you part of the Hastings and Central Region team. Ardent Mills says thank you.
Congratulations on the Leadership Award.
All right, congratulations to Joe Cherry for being selected for the East Region Q1 Leaders Award. Joe's leadership in the SCORE program creation and rollout has been passionate and driven. His commitment to our value of safety is really highlighted by his all-in attitude that he models each and every day. He has a great perspective with a wide variety of experience that he's willing to share as we continue our journey to world-class safety performance.
I'm very pleased to recognize Joe Cherry for this Q1 Leadership Award. Joe was part of a small core development team whose time, energy, and commitment helped to build the foundation for SCORE, our new behavior-based safety program, and ensure its successful implementation across all of Ardent Mills. In addition, Joe has recently been promoted from his hourly workforce position to inventory coordinator. He has maintained his enthusiastic organization-wide commitment to our value of safety while taking on these new responsibilities. Joe is another great example of the future leaders we have throughout Ardent Mills, and that we need to continue to identify and provide opportunities for growth. Congratulations, Joe, and keep up the terrific work.
Look, I've only been here a month. I've heard great things about you living the Ardent Mills values, being this leader, stepping up, going the extra mile. I just want to congratulate you. You really have done a superb job. Brian here has been around you a whole lot longer than I have. I'll let him talk a little bit more about that, but just great job.
City Pond, when we think about our core value of safety, most people think about that in terms of safety at our plants or at the offices. But also super important is our digital safety, our information safety. And you work tirelessly day in and day out to make sure that this company is safe with our information and with our data. It's almost all behind the scenes, and it's an unsung hero role, but we want you to know how much we really appreciate you, and we're super, super excited for you to get this award.
Congratulations, Sittapong. I was so excited when I got the news that you had won one of this quarter's Leaders Awards. I can't think of anybody more deserving than you to win this award. The long weekends that you've been putting in over the last few months, your meticulous attention to detail, all in order to protect our information and our security. Nobody deserves this more than you. I hope you enjoy it, and congratulations again.
All right, let's give a hand to the 4 winners. Good deal. So Bill's going to come back if there's any last questions. But again, thanks to everybody. We do want the Denver team to stay for one quick minute. We're going to talk about 5S here in Denver and a little reminder around that, similar to what we do at our plants. But before we do that, is there any final questions or anything that anybody's got in the room? Quick, we're right at the time, but we want to make sure we open it. Yeah, Chris. So the question was, what do we think about the new trade agreement that is no longer NAFTA? It's now the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement that is now, Mexico was in a few weeks ago, Canada just came in, and that's important for our business. We move a lot of commodity wheat between the U.S. and Canada, and flour as well. So we are very much, and Mexico, and so open free trade is important to us. We think it's a positive thing for the markets overall. The reality on the bigger picture, China's a bigger factor in terms of impact on the markets itself, so that's still a big deal is what's going on there. But we do think that's a positive step forward. Bill, anything you'd add?
Yeah, it's good to see us clearing up the logjam of what Trump wants done. And the other part, the devil's in the details, so nobody's really seen the details, but they are mentioning that dairy access will open up to Canada to U.S. farmers. Unknown what that really looks like, but I think that's a positive for ag as we go forward and for the U.S. producer. So
that's good. Thanks. Yes, question in the back.
Yeah, you guys mentioned the overall industry capacity being at roughly 82%. Mm-hmm. If this market continues in the foreseeable future, do you have any expectations around that overall capacity being reduced?
Well, it's going this next quarter or maybe the quarter after that, it's going to go down even further. There's more capacity coming online that hasn't been reported yet. I think it's important that we work really hard to help our customers grow. I think people want to eat grains. They want to eat wheat-based products. And we've got to leverage our resources with AMIC, the MIC, our technical group, whatever, product development, R&D, our sales expertise, and get aligned with the growing customers and ensure that our business is aligned with the growing customers that are out there. You know, there's ups and downs throughout all of our customers. It's just going to be critical that we're there to help our customers grow their business. And we've got the industry overall, all the millers need to do a great job of continuing to tell a better story about the products that we produce, the safe products that we produce, and having consumers want to eat more wheat-based products. It's also the reason why we're doubling down in the annex and driving for change in our business. We're not going to sit still. Wheat will continue to grow, but we think we can grow with the annex separate of wheat-based products. So, you know, anybody that knows me, I'm a pretty competitive guy. You know, what I will look at is where are we relative to the industry's runtime, and are we gaining more than our share as we go forward? Because then I know our business is being run very well, and we're winning with the customer.
And the strategy was built around this reality. We went and projected out what we thought would happen. As Bill said, we think it'll actually dip a little further as some new capacity goes on, and again, lining with the pockets of growth more important than it's ever been. Yep. One last question. Anybody else? All right, great. Well, thanks everybody, and thanks to all of our team at all of our locations.